I used to be embarrassed by my backyard. The grass was patchy, the beds looked forgotten, and nothing about it felt like a place I wanted to show off. But everything changed when I discovered a few simple hacks that completely transformed my space. Now my garden is the first thing guests notice when they arrive, and they always ask how I pulled it off. Welcome to Timeless Gardening, where we turn ordinary yards into extraordinary retreats. If you love gardening tips that save you money while making your space look stunning, you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss another transformation idea. Let's get started. Here are the 10 hacks that turned my plain backyard into a true showpiece, and can do the same for yours. Hack number 1. The mirror wall illusion. Hack number 1. Completely changed the way my garden feels. I added a garden mirror wall, and it instantly made the space look twice as big. By placing inexpensive shatterproof mirrors on a wooden fence, or against a wall, I created the illusion of depth and reflected light into shady corners. Suddenly, my small garden felt bright, airy, and expansive, almost like I had gained extra square footage overnight. To keep it looking natural, I framed the mirrors with pieces of salvaged wood stained to match my fence, so they blended seamlessly into the landscape. The result was stunning. Friends constantly asked if my garden got bigger without realizing it was just a clever trick. If you have climbing plants nearby, the effect is even more magical, because the reflected greenery makes it feel like you've doubled your planting. Hack number 2. Raised edge garden borders. Hack number 2 gave my garden an instant facelift. I built raised edge borders around my beds, using inexpensive bricks and reclaimed timber, and it completely changed the way my space looked. Instead of blending into the lawn, my flower beds now have structure and definition, almost like they were professionally designed. The slight elevation also made my plants stand out more, almost like each one had its own little spotlight. This hack isn't just about looks, it's practical too. The raised edges help keep mulch neatly in place, stop grass from creeping into the beds, and make weeding much easier. It's a small weekend project that delivers a polished, organized look while saving you time on garden maintenance. The best part, you can do this with budget-friendly, or even salvaged materials, so it's a low-cost way to make your garden look high-end. Hack number 3. Living pathways. Hack number 3. Turned my plain garden path into one of the most charming features in my entire yard. Instead of leaving my stepping stones surrounded by bare soil or plain gravel, I planted creeping thyme between them. Every time you step on it, it releases a beautiful fragrance, and it softens the harsh look of a regular pathway. Suddenly, my garden had that storybook, cottage garden feel that makes it irresistible to walk through. The best part is that creeping thyme is hardy, drought-tolerant, and naturally keeps weeds from taking over, which means my path always looks neat without much maintenance. If thyme isn't your style, you can try moss or even dwarf chamomile for a lush green look. This small but powerful hack adds texture, fragrance, and personality, instantly making your garden look more thoughtful and custom designed. Hack number 4. Solar spotlight drama. Hack number 4 brought my garden to life. After the sun went down, I added solar-powered spotlights and placed them at the base of my favorite trees and shrubs. At night, the garden transforms into a glowing retreat, with beautiful shadows and highlights that make it look like a professional landscape design. The lighting adds depth and drama, turning ordinary plants into sculptural focal points. What I love most about this hack is that it's completely solar-powered, so there's no need to worry about wiring or extra electricity costs. I positioned the lights to shine upward, which highlights the textures of leaves, bark, and flowers in a way that feels magical. This simple lighting upgrade instantly made my garden a place I want to enjoy in the evenings, whether I'm entertaining friends or just sipping tea under the stars. Hack number 5. Color-themed plant zones. Hack number 5 made my garden look like it was professionally designed. I stopped planting randomly and started grouping my flowers by color, creating dedicated zones for each palette. One section of my garden is filled with calming purples and blues, another is all whites and creams, and another bursts with warm yellows and oranges. This simple shift created a stunning visual flow, almost like walking through different rooms of color. The beauty of this hack is that it makes planting decisions so much easier. Instead of wondering if a new plant will clash, you simply add it to the section that matches its color. The end result feels intentional, elegant, and magazine-worthy. When people visit my garden, they often stop and admire how harmonious it looks. And they're always surprised when I tell them it was just a matter of grouping plants by color. Hack number 6. Statement pot cluster. Hack number 6 turned my ordinary potted plants into a striking centerpiece. Instead of scattering pots randomly around the yard, I grouped them together to create a single bold cluster. By mixing different pot sizes, shapes and materials, terracotta, glazed ceramic, and even a few DIY painted ones, I created an instant focal point that draws the eye as soon as you enter the garden. To give the display height and dimension, I used bricks and overturned buckets as hidden risers, creating a tiered effect. This made even the simplest plants look intentional and elevated. This hack is proof that you don't need expensive plants to make a big statement. You just need to arrange them creatively in one spot, and let them shine as a collective display. Hack number 7. Garden edge pebble trench. Hack number 7. Gave my garden a clean, polished frame that instantly made it look more put together. I dug a shallow trench along the edges of my flower beds and filled it with light-colored pebbles. This simple detail created a beautiful contrast against the greenery and soil, almost like putting a picture frame around my entire garden. It made every bed look intentional and gave the whole space a crisp designer feel. This hack also serves a practical purpose. The pebble trench keeps mulch from spilling out onto the lawn, improves drainage during heavy rains, and discourages weeds from creeping into the beds. It's one of those small changes that delivers a huge payoff, and it's surprisingly easy to do over a weekend, with just a few bags of decorative stones. Hack number 8. Vertical layering with shrubs. Hack number 8. Gave my garden that lush full look I'd always admired in professionally designed landscapes. Instead of keeping everything low and flat, I started layering my beds by planting taller shrubs and ornamental grasses toward the back, medium-sized plants in the middle, and shorter flowers and ground covers near the front. This created depth and dimension, making the garden feel immersive and much larger than it really is. I also played with contrasting textures, pairing spiky grasses with rounded shrubs, and mixing foliage colors to make each layer stand out. This layering technique made my garden look thoughtfully designed, even though I didn't add a single extra square foot of planting space. It's a simple but powerful way to make your garden look expensive and well planned. Hack number 9. Hidden irrigation beauty. Hack number 9. Made my garden look perfectly neat all the time. I replaced the mess of hoses and sprinklers with a simple DIY drip irrigation system that I buried under the mulch. Now the water goes straight to the roots of my plants, keeping the surface looking clean and polished. This invisible setup makes the garden feel more professional and keeps everything evenly watered without me having to drag a hose around. The best part is how effortless it makes maintenance. My plants stay healthier, bloom longer, and I save water because nothing is wasted. This hack is a game changer if you want a garden that stays beautiful with less work. And it's an easy weekend project that doesn't cost much to set up. Hack number 10. Natural mulch mosaic. Hack number 10 turned the floor of my garden into a work of art. Instead of using the same type of mulch everywhere, I experimented with creating patterns using different natural materials. I used bark mulch in one section, straw in another, and even crushed leaves for my pathways. This created a unique mosaic effect that made the ground itself part of the design, drawing the eye and making the entire space feel intentional and creative. Beyond the beauty, this hack is incredibly functional. Different mulches serve different purposes. Bark retains moisture for thirsty plants, straw insulates vegetable beds, and crushed leaves break down to feed the soil. The result is a garden floor that is not only visually stunning, but also perfectly tailored to support plant health. It's a low-cost way to add personality while improving the overall performance of your garden. Before we wrap up, I want to share a few bonus maintenance tips that keep my garden looking like a showpiece all season long. One of my favorite tricks is doing a quick 5-minute walkthrough every morning with a pair of small pruners. Snipping off spent blooms and yellow leaves daily keeps plants looking fresh and encourages even more flowers to grow. I also refresh my mulch mid-season by adding a thin new layer. Not only does this keep the beds looking neat, but it also helps lock in moisture during the hottest months. And here's a simple habit that makes a big difference. I keep a watering can near my back door. Every time I step outside, I give a quick drink to any plant that looks thirsty. These little daily habits mean my garden stays beautiful with almost no big weekend overhauls. And there you have it. 10 hacks that completely changed the way my garden looks and feels. When I first started, my backyard was just a patch of grass with a few random plants that didn't have any real impact. But by adding mirror walls to create the illusion of space, building raised borders for structure, layering plants for depth, and even hiding my irrigation system, I turned a plain outdoor space into something I'm truly proud to show off. What I love most is that none of these hacks required hiring a landscaper or spending a fortune. They were simple, affordable changes that anyone can do, whether you have a sprawling yard or a small urban garden. The beauty of these tips is that they don't just make your garden look good for one season, they make it easier to care for, keep it healthy, and allow it to stay beautiful year after year. If you try even one of these ideas, you'll see how much it elevates your space. Imagine walking outside to a garden that feels like a personal retreat, where every corner looks intentional, where your flowers pop with color, and where the lighting makes it magical even at night. That's the transformation these hacks can give you. And I want that for every gardener who watches this channel. So if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it with a friend or neighbor who loves gardening, but doesn't know where to start. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the perfect time. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. I have more tips coming that will take your garden to the next level, from seasonal planning guides to DIY projects that will make your outdoor space feel like a designer's dream. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope you feel inspired to get outside and start transforming your own space. Remember, your garden doesn't need to be perfect to be beautiful. It just needs a little creativity and care. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, happy gardening.